Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in the last class, we talked about radiation from moving point charge. And let me just briefly recapitulate what we discussed in the last class. So, you have already derived the expression for electric field and magnetic field for an arbitrarily moving point charge. And the electric field for an arbitrarily moving point charge is given by this expression.
স্যার কিছু শোনা যাচ্ছে না।
দাঁড়াও এক মিনিট। এখন শোনা যাচ্ছে? হ্যালো হ্যালো, দাঁড়াও। স্ক্রিন দেখা যাচ্ছে? Okay. Okay. So this was the expression for the electric field for an arbitrarily moving point charge, and I told you that there are two distinct parts, one corresponding to only the velocity and the another part which purely arises due to the acceleration. So this is called the velocity field, and this is called the acceleration field or the radiation field, the radiation, because it can give rise to radiation that we have already seen. Because this is proportional to 1 over r square, whereas this is proportional to 1 over r. So if we think in terms of radiation, this term does not give rise to any effective radiation, right? So radiation purely comes from this term. So whenever we talk about the electric field of a moving point charge, which can be thought about the source of an electromagnetic radiation, we only talk about this radiation field. And using this radiation field, we have calculated the power radiated by a moving point charge at low velocity. So at low velocity, what should be the radiation coming out of a moving point charge? So for that low velocity, you have used this approximation V is much less than C, and we simplified the expression, because in that case curly R will be much greater than curly R times beta, and this should be much greater than R dot beta. So we simplified this expression for electric field, and then we calculated the Poynting vector. If you remember, Poynting vector, which is 1 over mu 0 times ER cross BR. So we shall call this term as ER, and we know what BR is. Once we know ER, this is simply 1 by C R cap cross ER. So once you know ER, you can calculate BR, and if you substitute this here, we have 1 by mu 0 C E R square times R cap. This is the Poynting vector, and we calculated this, and we got an expression which is, so I'm just writing the result here, R cap by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q square A square by 4 pi C cube times sine square theta by R square. You may remember this particular dependence, right? So it is inversely proportional to r square. So we saw that the radiation pattern, if this is acceleration, this should look like a donut around the moving point charge. So there will be no radiation in the forward and backward direction. The radiation will be entirely emitted in the perpendicular direction. And why it is looking like a lobe, you can see this is 1 by r square, right? So, and this is sine square theta. So this is a cross sectional diagram. If you go to 3 dimension, it will be a donut kind of shape. So and using this pointing vector, we calculated the total power radiated, PT. Simply integrate this pointing vector across the surface of a radius having a radius r dA, and this gave us something which is 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 into twice q square a square by 3 cq. And this is a famous formula which is called Larmor radiation formula. We have already talked about this Larmor radiation formula. This tells you how much power will be radiated by a moving point charge if it is moving with a low velocity, not relativistic velocity. And there are several things to discuss about this, but keeping in mind the time constant that we have currently, I'm not going into detailed discussion of these because we have to at least finish the, I think major part of the syllabus, specifically the radiation part I want to finish, but I don't know how much it will be possible. So that's why I'm not going to extend a discussion on these topics. Only the main important things should be discussed. So this is Larmor radiation formula. It has several applications which or we can also devise many problems. Again, I'm not able to discuss about problems in these classes because of this time constraint. So let us move forward. So this is the radiation from a moving point charge in case of non-relativistic motion. So now we want to move forward and want to discuss what should be the radiation pattern or what should be the power radiated by a moving or accelerating point charge. Accelerating point charge. Of course, if there is no acceleration, there will be no radiation. As you can see from this formula, right? The first term doesn't give rise to any radiation. Okay. Of course, you have something, but that diminishes very quickly. So effective radiation can be only obtained from the radiation field, right? So if there is no acceleration, that depends on the acceleration, beta dot. You see, if it is 0, there is no radiation. And now, if we consider an accelerating point charge which is moving with relativistic velocity, okay, how to calculate the power radiated by that point charge? So to approach this problem, here I will follow the formalism given in Jackson. You can refer to Jackson's book. Okay, there are several different approach, but here I am sticking to Jackson approach. For the radiation part, mostly I stick to Jackson approach. So let us go to this formula, how to derive that. So we are going to discuss about radiation from accelerated point charge or charge at high velocity. That means high means relativistic, high velocity or relativistic velocity. We have already a formula with us which tells us the Larmor formula. So what is the Larmor formula? Let's write down that. Larmor formula is for the non-relativistic case. What is Larmor formula? Larmor formula is 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square a square by 3 cq. Now this I already told you that this 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 I sometimes keep it separate, right? Just to make the conversion between different units, easy. Otherwise, you can also multiply this. If I multiply this, this will be q square a square, okay, by 6 pi epsilon 0 cq. So this is the Larmor formula. Now we want to have a relativistic generalization of this formula. See, this can be, the easiest way to do this is to find a relativistic generalization of some, say, some kind of Lorentz invariant. So let us define some Lorentz invariant which remains invariant. Basically, if it is Lorentz invariant, of course, it will be invariant. in different frame of reference. And then if we have a Lorentz invariant and that reduces to this formula under the approximation that beta is much less than 1, then we have reached our desired goal. So the purpose is to define some Lorentz invariant which reduces to this formula. This is power, okay, power, which reduces to this formula under the approximation beta much less than 1. How to do that? Okay, one way to do that is that look at this A. What is A? A is acceleration of the point charge, right? Of course, I mean we are going to generalize it. So how do we define force, right? F force is dp dt, right? Rate of change of momentum. Of course, we'll see that this dp dt is not, I mean, in Newtonian case, it is dp dt. It is simply m times acceleration A, right? So if I ask you what is acceleration in terms of force, acceleration is simply 1 over m dp dt, right? But we are not, so in case of this Larmor formula, I can write this to be pt. This is of course non-relativistic case. Pt equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square by thrice. I missed some. No, it's okay. A square. A is what? 1 by m dp dt. So this will be 3 m square c cube, and then dp dt square. That is force dp dt dot dp dt. This is the non-relativistic formula, right? Right. Of course, this is not a relativistic one. I'm just writing this formula in a different form, right? Okay, but in relativity, we have 4 momentum, right? What is again, I have used capital P for power here, so that could be sometimes confusing because you use capital P for 4 momentum as well. Let me write small p here so that do not confuse. P mu, 4 momentum. 4 momentum of the particle is E by C, and then px, py, pz, or vector p if you want to write compact manner, in a compact manner. P mu. What is the force? F mu. What is that? Rate of change of 4 momentum with respect to the proper time, dp mu d tau. And we have also the expression for F mu. This is known to us, right? What is that? That is gamma, if you remember, 1 over c dE dt, right? Which can be also written as U dot F. So I'm not going to that. 1 by c dE dt, and then dpx dt, dpy dt, dpz dt. So I'm writing compactly dp vector dt. So this is 4 force, this is 4 momentum, right? Of course, tau is, no tau, d tau is dt by gamma, right? D tau, proper time. This is known. So you want to generalize this using the 4 momentum or 4 force. How to do that, right? So this is the non-relativistic formula, right? The Larmor formula. What we want to have a general formula which applies in relativistic case and give us back this formula under the approximation beta much less than 1. That is our goal. Okay, so we are just starting in the direction. So now you see, there are different ways to choose the invariant. Here we are sticking to this same formula. Okay, I'm not going to any other formula, same formula. So let us write down. Again, you have to take this with some faith that this will give us back the formula, but let us see. 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0, and then twice q square, thrice m square c cube, and then what we do, d p mu d tau, and d, if this is contravariant, this has to be covariant, dp mu d tau, right? It is the same formula. Only thing is, in place of dp dt, I have written dp mu tau d tau, dp mu d tau. It's one contravariant, other will be covariant. So will this formula give us back this one under the approximation beta much less than 1? We have to see that, to check that. If it gives us this formula, then it's okay. We have got the correct formula. But if it is not, then of course we have to again find out what is the correct Lorentz invariant which can give us this formula under this approximation. And let us just here I'm giving a negative sign. Now, why negative? It may not be, I mean, evident at this point why it is negative. Why am I putting a negative sign? So what I'm suggesting, that if you take this formula to be the Lorentz invariant, then this formula can give you back this one under this approximation. But that we have to check that. Unless we check that, so this negative sign is given for some purpose that will be clear very soon. Okay. So let us see. So this I have written a formula for power radiated in the relativistic case, and then we want to just simplify it. So let us calculate these quantities, dp mu d tau, dp mu d tau. Then we can only see that whether this gives us this formula or not. Okay, let me just write it once again so that we do not forget it. So what was the formula? The formula we wrote earlier is that P equal to minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square by 3 m square cq dp mu d tau dp mu d tau. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let us first calculate this one. Okay, this one is already known. Let us calculate this one. Okay. So first we shall calculate minus dp mu d tau and dp mu d tau. Right. What is that? Okay, we know the expression for dp mu d tau. I just wrote it, I think a couple of minutes back, that f mu, which is dp mu d tau, right? dp mu d tau. What is that? 1 by c, and there is gamma, I think, yeah. Gamma 1 by c de dt, and then comma dp vector dt. This was the expression for dp mu d tau. So if one is contravariant, another is covariant, so this will be minus, and then let us write down gamma square, and then 1 by c square d dt square. One is plus, one is minus, contravariant, covariant. So minus dp dt whole square, third second bracket. Okay. There is a minus sign outside. Don't forget that. Okay, or we can take this minus sign inside, so that will be simple, I think, yeah, rather than writing it again and again. Gamma square dp dt square minus 1 by c square de. E is energy here, p is momentum, right? Square. Now what is the energy in case of relativistic motion? In case of relativistic motion, so E, what is energy? E is what is that? Gamma mc square. What is gamma? Gamma is 1 by square root of 1 minus beta square. So mc square divided by square root of 1 minus beta square. This is energy. What is momentum? Momentum is gamma times m times the velocity v, right? Or I can write this to be equal to, yeah, I can take c mc. Okay, gamma is this, gamma is square root of 1 minus beta square, and m, I am writing it as m c beta. I'm writing everything in terms of beta. So this is energy, this is momentum, and we have to calculate simply time derivative of those quantities, which is straightforward. So what is dE dt? dE dt, energy, time derivative of energy, dE dt. I'm just taking a time derivative of this one, right? So that will be minus half, and then 1 minus beta square whole to the power 3 half. Mc square is a constant, that will be there. There will be another minus sign. This will be plus. 2 will be there. Beta will be there. Beta is a vector. Dot, beta dot. One is velocity, another is acceleration. So minus minus plus 2 will get cancelled. So dE dt will be mc square. This is gamma cube. This is gamma cube. 1 over 1 minus beta square to the power 3 half is gamma cube into beta dot acceleration beta dot, right? Beta dot. What is dp dt? Again, straightforward to calculate. Just take time derivative of that. But here we have two things. One is beta, so that will be mc m times c. That's a constant. Let us keep it outside, and then inside. First, let us take the derivative of beta. That is beta dot divided by square root of 1 minus beta square, and then take a derivative second term, which is quite similar, which we just did in the previous step. So beta is left, and we have a plus because minus minus becomes plus. 2 will get cancelled. In a similar manner, beta dot divided by, this will be 1 minus beta square whole to the power 3 half. If we simplify this in terms of because this is gamma cube, this is gamma. If I take gamma cube common, mc, suppose I take gamma cube common, then I have to multiply by with the 1 minus beta square. The first term should be multiplied by 1 minus beta square. So beta dot into 1 minus beta square plus beta into beta dot beta dot. This is dpdt. So we have calculated both dpdt and dedt. Both are ready now in terms of gamma and beta. This is dedt, and this expression over there is dpdt. This is dpdt. So let's have these expressions for dedt and dpdt in this to calculate this one. So let us just go through the actual formulas. So what was P? P we proposed was 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0, then twice q square. It is just same as the non-relativistic Larmor formula, with a simple change which we have proposed is that instead of dp dt, let us use minus dp mu d tau, dp mu d tau. And we have already the expression for dp mu d tau. What is the dp mu d tau? Dp mu d tau, I'm writing it once again so that we can follow the calculation. Dp mu d tau, dp mu d tau. What was that? That was gamma square into dp dt square minus 1 over c square de dt square whole square, right? And we have this desired expression for dp dt. Let me write dp dt. dp dt is that we have calculated. dp dt is how much? mc gamma cube into beta dot into 1 minus beta square plus beta into beta dot acceleration beta dot. And dedt is simply m c square gamma cube into beta dot beta dot. Okay, so we shall put these values here in order to calculate this. So I'm just directly going into this formula so that we don't need to write them separately. So this will be I think, yeah, we have to write this term again and again. Okay, let me write it. Equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square by 3m square c cube. This is the constant term, and then the entire thing, that is gamma square. You see this minus sign is already taken into account here. Gamma square, and then inside that dp dt square, I mean square of the entire term, this one. So what will be the square? M square c to the power c square gamma to the power 6. Yes, and then we have the term inside this bracket. What is that? Beta dot square beta, maybe I should write it otherwise, or maybe you can do it together. Okay, what should we do? I think we can do it. Okay, let me just, I should not skip steps, so let me write it. Beta dot 1 minus beta square plus beta dot beta dot square 4 gamma to the power 6. There is a c square in the denominator, so one c square will get cancelled. This is c to the power 4. When I take a square, this will become c to the power 4. So one c square will be left in the numerator. So we have m square, c to the power 4 becomes c square, and gamma cube becomes gamma to the power 6, and then beta dot square. Yes, so this should be simplified, a plus b square term above. So let us do that. This becomes gamma. Okay, let us take gamma to the power 6 common, because this is common. Gamma to the power 6, gamma to the power 6, and now we have a gamma square and gamma square, that becomes gamma to the power 8. So this is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square by 3 m square c cube into gamma to the power 8. Okay, and then inside this, I think I can also take this m square c square. Yeah, why should I keep this? So if I take m square c square outside, m square c square, m square m square will get cancelled, c square and c cube. So I will have a c in the denominator only here, 3c. So 2q square by 3c and gamma to the power 8. Let us keep them together. 2q square gamma 8 by 3c. So we have only term which are beta and beta dot inside. Yeah. So then beta dot square, we have we are taking a square of this a plus b square. So beta dot square into 1 minus beta square whole square, a square plus b square plus beta square, and then beta dot I mean acceleration square, then 2ab. So plus yeah, here plus 2 beta dot into I think, yeah, this there is 2 beta dot twice. One is here, beta dot and beta dot is here. So beta dot beta square twice ab into 1 minus beta square into 1 minus beta square. One minus beta square. So a plus b square is done, and then we have this last term. Last term is beta dot square. So that is here minus beta dot square. Let us simplify this. So I write it as 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square gamma to the power 8 by 3c, and then inside bracket beta dot square 1 minus beta square whole square. Then we have this one is 2 beta dot square. Okay, let me take this common, beta dot square. I'm taking common beta dot square common from these two terms. So what should I get? I'm writing minus beta dot square. If I take this common, this will be 1 minus beta square from these two terms, this term and this term. I'm taking this common, so 1 minus beta square, and then I have this term left, plus 2 beta dot square 1 minus beta square. See, these two terms are same, beta dot square into 1 minus beta square. This is also beta dot square into 1 minus beta square. Only the numbers are different, plus 2 and minus 1. So if I subtract this from this, we shall have this 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square gamma to the power 8 by 3c, and then I write this as, where is that, this one. Maybe I can also take okay, let me just write it up first. Beta dot square 1 minus beta square whole square minus beta dot square into, no, it will be plus, this will be plus, yeah, plus 1 minus beta square, yes, yeah. So 1 minus beta square whole square, 1 minus beta square. So let us take this outside. So if I take 1 by beta square, so we are still calculating the total power emitted by this relativistic case, but we have to verify it. So PT is how much? 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0. So I am continuing from the previous page. Okay, so I'm not writing twice q square gamma to the power 8 by 3c. Then you may remember we had 1 minus beta square whole square in the first term. In the second term, we have just 1 minus beta square. So I'm taking that 1 minus beta square common outside. So what is inside? We have in the inside, we have beta dot square into 1 minus beta square plus beta dot square. Okay. So what can we do now? Okay, this is 1 by gamma square, right? 1 minus beta square is 1 by gamma square. So this will be reduced to 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0, and then twice q square gamma to the power 6 divided by 3c. This 1 minus beta square is absorbed here, and then we have beta dot square into 1 minus beta square plus beta dot acceleration, velocity dot acceleration square, yeah. And suppose beta and beta dot makes an angle theta. So velocity and acceleration may be collinear, may not be collinear. So let us take a general angle theta between velocity and acceleration. So if theta is the angle between beta velocity and acceleration beta dot, then we write P equal to power radiated by the point charge would be twice q square gamma to the power 6 by 3c into beta square beta dot square. So I'm just multiplying this beta dot square into minus beta dot square into beta square, and this dot product will give us a cos theta. If the angle is between them is theta, so that will give us beta square beta dot square into cos square theta. So if I take beta dot square beta square common from these two terms, we get is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square gamma to the power 6 by 3c into beta dot square minus, we take this common, beta dot square into beta square. That gives us c1. So I don't want to write another line. That will give us 1 minus cos square theta. So 1 minus cos square theta is sine square theta. Sine square theta, right? And again, you see, since a new term sine theta appeared here, I can write this to be a cross product between beta and beta dot. Earlier it was a dot product, right? So that's why there was a cos theta. Now when you club these two terms together, we have a 1 minus cos square theta, which is sine square theta. So which we can write 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square gamma to the power 6 3c into beta dot square minus velocity cross acceleration square. So this formula, we have to check this whether this gives us the Larmor formula under the approximation. So beta much less than 1, or when v is much less than c, then beta is much less than 1, or beta tends to 0. It's negligible, right? V is much less than c, so beta is negligible, and in that case gamma tends to 1. It is not exactly 1, it tends to 1. Beta is also not exactly 0, it tends to 0. So in that case, what is the power radiated? You see, gamma becomes 1, and since beta tends to 0, second term will vanish. The second term will vanish. We have only the first term. And what is beta dot square? It is acceleration square by c square, a square by c square into c. That will become c cube. So what we get is nothing but the Larmor formula. You check it, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, and then in the numerator you have twice q square. Gamma to the power 6 becomes 1 because gamma is 1. We have a square from this term, q square, a square. In the denominator we have a c square into c is c cube divided by 3c cube. This is nothing but the Larmor formula, which we have already derived in the last class. So this satisfies our requirement, and this formula, this p equal to this one, this formula is known as the relativistic generalization of Larmor formula, and this was first given by Leonard, and following his name, it is called Leonard radiation formula. Leonard radiation formula. So non-relativistic is called Larmor, and this is called Leonard radiation formula. So this is the relativistic case, right? This depends on both velocity and acceleration. Of course, this again, and it has two different contributions coming from the first term and second term. We will see how important these two terms are relative in a relative sense. Okay, now you can easily see that let us take two extreme cases when say velocity is parallel to acceleration or orthogonal to acceleration. So when velocity v or beta is say beta, velocity beta is say parallel to case number 1. This case 1, beta is parallel to acceleration beta dot. Clearly you can see that when beta and beta dot are parallel, so angle between them is 0, so that in second term is 0, right? So will that give us Larmor formula? No, gamma is not 1 in that case because it's a relativistic. The charge is moving with relativistic velocity, right? So it is not the same as the Larmor formula because gamma is not 1. So in that case, what do we get? P equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square a square by 3c cube gamma to the power 6. Look at this number, gamma to the power 6. Gamma is a number which is larger than 1, right? So gamma could be 10, gamma could be 100, gamma could be 1000, gamma could be million, and something to the power 6. So suppose gamma is 100 to the power 6. It's a very large number, right? So this formula is telling something very important, that the power lost by the moving point charge in the relativistic case will be huge, gamma to the power 6, right? It's a very large number. Depending on the value of gamma, it could be very high. And when the velocity and acceleration are orthogonal, that is when case 2, when velocity is perpendicular to the acceleration, right? What happens in that case? You see, in that case, this will be what? Sine 90 degrees 1. So you can take beta dot square. So beta dot square minus beta square, beta dot square. Take beta dot square common. So you have 1 minus beta square. And 1 minus beta square is nothing but 1 by gamma square. So that 1 by gamma square will reduce this power of gamma on the numerator. That will become gamma to the power 4, right? And you have a beta dot square, which is nothing but a square by c square, right? So in the perpendicular case, you get p equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0 into twice q square a square by 3 cq. In the same manner, only the power will be reduced this time, gamma to the power 4. But again, gamma to the power 4 is not a small number. If gamma is 10, you can see this is million. If gamma is 10, this is million. Now, if someone asks you, I mean, the loss of power loss, if I want to compare the power loss in these two extreme case, when the velocity and acceleration are parallel and they're perpendicular, what will be the relative power loss? In the first case, you see gamma to the power 6. In this case, gamma to the power 4. So it may appear that when the velocity and acceleration are parallel, the power loss will be almost 100 times more for the same particle. Of course, the mass is same, charge is same. In that case, the power loss in the first case will be 100 times more. No, not the 100 times, sorry, gamma square. I'm sorry, gamma to the power 6 and gamma to the power 4, that is gamma square times more in the first case. But you see, this conclusion that I am drawing from this formula is based on the assumption the particle has same acceleration. That means A is same, right? Acceleration is same. If the acceleration is same, then of course what I have said is true, that if we consider a particle in the first case when it is moving in direction so that the velocity and acceleration are parallel, in the second case when they are orthogonal and they both have same acceleration, in that case, in the first scenario will give more power loss. And how much more? Gamma square times more than the second case. But remember, in general, when you talk about acceleration is not something which, so when you apply, suppose I have a charged particle and the particle is subjected to some electric field or magnetic field or some external force. So the real entity which is responsible for the acceleration is the force. The force is responsible for acceleration. So it is the force which should be kept in mind while discussing about the relative power loss, not the acceleration. Because if I take a particle and apply a force so that the particle is moving in a straight line, and in the second case, suppose it is moving in a circle, because velocity and acceleration will be orthogonal when it is moving in a circular motion. In the first case, when it is moving along a straight line, velocity and acceleration, they are collinear. So if I suppose apply the same force, suppose I apply some force, suppose 1 Newton, whatever, a force is applied to a charged particle, and the particle moves in a straight line. And in the second case, suppose the particle is moving in a circular motion. In which case the acceleration will be more? Can you tell me? Same force is applied to the same particle. One is responsible for rectilinear motion, another is responsible for circular motion. Can you tell me in which case the radiation will be, oh sorry, the acceleration will be more? একই ফোর্স অ্যাপ্লাই করা হচ্ছে। রিলেটিভিস্টিক যাওয়ার দরকার নেই, তুমি আমাকে নিউটনিয়ান এতেই বলো যে আমি যদি নিউটনিয়ান কেস ধরি যেখানে একটা বল নাও, ঠিক আছে, সেম ফোর্স ইজ অ্যাপ্লাইড, in one case the force is the ball is moving in a, say suppose in a circular path, another case it is moving in a straight line, কোন কেসে অ্যাক্সেলারেশন বেশি হবে? Okay, if you are not sure, let us calculate it. Okay, in the relativistic case, okay, of course, I mean it can be inferred for the non-relativistic case as well. So what was the formula for the force in the relativistic case? If you remember that I have just derived it in today's class, dp dt, this is force, right? And what was the expression for the relativistic case? You may have forgotten it, mc gamma cube into beta dot into 1 minus beta square plus beta into beta dot. This was the expression for dp dt. Okay, and now let us write down the formula. In the parallel case, what was the radiation power emitted? I'm writing parallel, just not to repeat it again and again. So p parallel means when velocity and acceleration are parallel, in that case the power emitted by the accelerating point charge is equal to We just calculated in the last page. 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square a square divided by 3c cube into gamma to the power 6. And in the perpendicular case, we calculated this to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square a square by thrice c cube into gamma to the power 4. So our conclusion was that in the parallel case, there will be more power loss. Okay, so you just want to verify. Now you see, when it is parallel, okay, and when it is perpendicular, what is the difference? I mean, if I ask you, when v beta is parallel to beta dot, and when it is parallel to beta dot, then what is dp dt? See, dp dt, what is dp dt? dp dt is see parallel. So this is beta square beta dot. If I take beta dot common, so this will become mc gamma cube, okay, let us do it. Parallel mc gamma cube into beta dot into 1 minus beta square plus this is beta and this is beta dot. This is a dot product, and we have yeah, cos, this is parallel, right? Cos 0 1, so that will give us beta square, wait a minute, this will give us beta square beta dot. So if I take beta square common, beta dot common, okay, beta, so this will be beta square beta dot. So if I take this common, beta dot common, then you see, you may wonder if what I have done here. So beta square, see, they are collinear. I mean beta and beta dot both have same direction. So if this is dot product, this is a scalar, right? Beta or effectively this is basically beta into beta dot. Sorry, no vector, beta dot, right? But I am just, what I am doing, I am making it scalar, and the vector sign is put here. So I have made it beta dot. Since beta and beta dot are in the same direction, that's why I can do it, right? So beta square into beta vector, beta dot vector. You see, beta dot was scalar, but since they have same direction, I have taken this vector sign from on top of beta to beta dot and written this as beta square, right? This is okay. So if I take beta square, no, beta dot common, so mc gamma cube beta dot common, then what is inside? 1 minus beta square plus beta square. So this is cancelled. So mc gamma cube beta dot. And what is beta dot? This is acceleration by c. So c gets cancelled. It will become m gamma cube into the acceleration vector a, right? This is acceleration vector a, or dv dt, whatever you write, equigenous. Similarly, so let us do it. Then this is acceleration, right? So what is a? What is a? A is basically 1 by m into gamma cube into dp dt, the force which is applied to the particle. Now if you put this in place of this a square, what do you get from this? And what do you get from this? Okay, in this case I have to also calculate if beta is perpendicular to beta dot, then in the same fashion, what do you get? The second term, dp dt, second term will be 0. If they are orthogonal, second term will be 0. And the 1 minus beta square is what? 1 by gamma square. So this gamma q will be reduced to gamma. So then what we have? mc gamma and beta dot. Beta dot is what? Acceleration by c. c gets cancelled. So m gamma into dv dt, or acceleration. M gamma into acceleration. So in the one case we get this, in another case we get this. Now let us place this. A square means what? A dot a. A square is what? A dot a. So you just place a equal to 1 by m gamma cube dp dt. In this case, put a equal to 1 by m gamma into dp dt. So if you do that, what do you get? You get p parallel, in this case 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square by thrice m square c cube, right? And then you have dp dt square, right? Correct? And in this case, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 twice q square by thrice m square c cube and a gamma square, because this gamma 4 here, on gamma square is coming from here. You see, this gamma 6 got cancelled because gamma cube is there. So a equal to 1 by m square gamma to the power 6, and that gamma to the power 6 got cancelled. New m square came here because of this expression of force and acceleration. This m is coming here, m square. Gamma to the power 6 got cancelled. And here you see, here we have what? In the second case, we have 1 by gamma square. We have a gamma 4 here. So that gives us a gamma square into dp dt square. Now compare. If I apply same force, you see, same force is applied, which will give rise to more radiation. The second case, you see, the second case, this is gamma square time more than the parallel case. So it will be wrong if we naively look at these two formula and decide that in the parallel case scenario where velocity and acceleration are parallel, we will have more power loss than the perpendicular case. It is just the opposite. If you apply same force, of course, yeah, your conclusions will be true if you consider only for the same acceleration. But if you decide the same force is applied to the particle in both cases and the particle is accelerating, the radiation loss will be much more in the second case. So basically in the circular motion, this is rectilinear motion. In the circular motion, you will have more power loss from the moving accelerating point charge. It is almost gamma square time more. So if it is gamma is 10, 100 times more power will be lost due to circular motion as compared to rectilinear motion. Fine. So this is all I wanted to discuss about Leonard radiation. I mean relativistic radiation. Of course, there are more things to discuss about, which I shall continue in the next class. In this class, I think we will not be able to cover those things. Specifically, what should be the radiation pattern? Because in the Larmor formula, we saw that there will be no radiation in the forward and backward direction. All the radiation will be confined in a lobe or a donut pattern perpendicular to the direction of acceleration. So natural question would be, what should be the radiation pattern if a point charge is moving with relativistic velocity? Which direction should get more power and which direction should get less power? How do we decide that? So that we will discuss in the next class. Because of the time, I will not start that discussion. If you have any question, you can ask, because we have still a couple of minutes, 2-3 minutes.
Sir.
বলো।
না, আপনি যেটা যে বললেন, মানে পাওয়ার লসটা ডিপেন্ড করবে হচ্ছে ফোর্সের উপর আর ইসের উপর ডিপেন্ড করবে না, অ্যাক্সিলারেশন উপর।
না না, হ্যাঁ আমরা বলছি, আমি দুটোর উপর ডিপেন্ড করবে। আমি বললাম যে একটা কেসে আমি এই যে এক্সপ্রেশন লেখা হয়েছে ইন টার্মস অফ অ্যাক্সিলারেশন, রাইট, আর এই এক্সপ্রেশন লেখা হয়েছে ইন টার্মস অফ ফোর্স। তো আমি যখন ধরো একটা ইলেকট্রন নেওয়া হয়েছে, চার্জ সেম, চার্জটা পাল্টাচ্ছে না, মাসও পাল্টাচ্ছে না, আমি একটা ফোর্স অ্যাপ্লাই করলাম ইলেকট্রনটার উপরে। একটা কেসে ইলেকট্রনটা স্ট্রেট লাইন বরাবর মুভ করছে, আর একটা কেসে ইলেকট্রনটা সার্কুলার পাথে মুভ করছে। আমার প্রশ্নটা ছিল যে কোন কেসে বেশি পাওয়ার লস হবে, রাইট? এখন যদি তুমি ফার্স্ট ফরওয়ার্ড অ্যাপ্লাই করার চেষ্টা করো, একই জিনিস পাবে তুমি। বাট হোয়াট আই এম সেইং দ্যাট ইফ ইউ নেভলি লুক অ্যাট দ্য অ্যাক্সিলারেশন, কারণ দুটো কেসে তো একই অ্যাক্সিলারেশন হবে না। আমি যদি এমন দুটো কেস নিই যেখানে অ্যাক্সিলারেশনটা সেম, সেখানে অফকোর্স তোমার কনক্লুশনটা হোল্ড করবে। কিন্তু আমি বলছি যে একই ফোর্স যদি অ্যাপ্লাই করা হয় একটা ইলেকট্রনের উপরে, এবং একটা কেসে ওটা স্ট্রেট লাইনে মুভ করে, একটা কেসে ওটা সার্কুলার পাথে মুভ করে, তাহলে অ্যাক্সিলারেশনটা সমান হবে না, অ্যাক্সিলারেশনটা আলাদা হবে। যদি অ্যাক্সিলারেশনটা আলাদা হয় তাহলে অফকোর্স পাওয়ারটাও আলাদা হবে, পাওয়ার লসটাও আলাদা হবে। আমরা সেটাই দেখিয়েছি যে অ্যাক্সিলারেশনের সঙ্গে ফোর্সের যে সম্পর্ক ইন কেস অফ রিলেটিভিস্টিক মোশন, এই সম্পর্কটা দেখিয়েছি আমরা, যে যা আসে সেটা যদি আমরা এখানে সাবস্টিটিউট করি তাহলে এই গামা টু দি পাওয়ার 6টা কেটে উড়ে যায়, থাকে না, রাইট? তার মানে এটা সিম্পলি ডিপি ডিটি স্কোয়ার, ফোর্সের স্কোয়ার। On the other hand, in the perpendicular case, যেখানে কিনা ভেলোসিটি অ্যাক্সিলারেশন পারপেন্ডিকুলার সার্কুলার মোশনের ক্ষেত্রে, সেখানে একটা গামা স্কোয়ার ফ্যাক্টর থেকে যাচ্ছে। তার মানে এটা বলছে যদি একই ফোর্স অ্যাপ্লাই করা হয় একই চার্জ পার্টিকেলের উপরে, তাহলে আমরা রেক্টিলিনিয়ার মোশনে কম পাওয়ার লস হবে, সার্কুলার মোশনে বেশি পাওয়ার লস হবে, এবং সেটা কত গুণ বেশি হবে, গামা স্কোয়ার টাইমস বেশি পাওয়ার লস হবে। আর এই ফর্মুলাটার মধ্যে অ্যাজ সাচ কোনো তফাৎ নেই। আমি জাস্ট যেটা এমফাসাইজ করলাম, লোকে শুধু এই ফর্মুলাটার দিকে তাকিয়ে ডিসাইড করে নেয় যে এইখানে বেশি পাওয়ার লস হচ্ছে, এখানে পাওয়ার লস কম হচ্ছে। সেটা আনট্রু। সেটা ট্রু তখনই যখন অ্যাক্সেলারেশনটা সেম থাকবে, কিন্তু একই ফোর্স অ্যাপ্লাই করলে তো অ্যাক্সেলারেশন আলাদা হয়ে যায়। তুমি যদি একটা ইলেকট্রন নাও, একটা প্রোটন নাও, তাহলে আলাদা জিনিস, প্রোটনের মাস বেশি, একই ফোর্স অ্যাপ্লাই করলে অবভিয়াসলি অ্যাক্সেলারেশন আলাদা হবে। কিন্তু আমি কনসিডার করছি যে একই পার্টিকেল, একই ফোর্স দেওয়া হয়েছে, দুটো আলাদা মোশন, তাহলে সেক্ষেত্রে কি পাওয়ার লসটা সেম হবে? দ্য আনসার ইজ নো। পাওয়ার লসটা বেশি হবে সার্কুলার মোশন, রেক্টিলিনিয়ার মোশনে কম পাওয়ার লস হবে। ঠিক আছে, তোমার প্রশ্নটা কি উত্তর ক্লিয়ার?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বুঝতে পেরেছি।
ওকে, এনি আদার কোয়েশ্চেন? ওকে, হ্যাঁ বলো বলো।
স্যার লার্মার ফর্মুলাটা আমার বিটা মাছ লেস দ্যান 1 ধরেই করা হয়েছিল, তো সেখান থেকে যখন রিলেটিভিস্টিক্যালি যখন টোটাল পাওয়ারটা বের করা হচ্ছে, তখন মানে ওই এক্সপ্রেশনটা ধরেই কেন করা হচ্ছে?
ওয়েট, বিটা মাছ লেস দেন 1, এই কন্ডিশনটা আমরা কোথায় বসেছিলাম? তুমি ভুলিয়ে ফেলো না। বিটা মাছ লেস দেন এটা বসেছিলাম কোথায়? আমরা ইলেকট্রিক ফিল্ডের এক্সপ্রেশনে, রাইট? ইলেকট্রিক ফিল্ডের এক্সপ্রেশনে বসিয়ে আমরা পয়েন্টিং ভেক্টরটা ক্যালকুলেট করেছিলাম, এবং সেখান থেকে পাওয়ার ক্যালকুলেট করেছিলাম। ঠিক আছে, যদি তুমি বিটা মাছ লেস দেন অ্যাপ্রক্সিমেশনটা ইউজ করতে না চাও, তাহলে বিটার যে কোনো ভ্যালু পসিবল হতে পারে। তুমি একটা এক্সপ্রেশন পাবে ইলেকট্রিক, তুমি সিম্পলি ই আর বি এর, কারণ আমরা ই জানি, আর ই জানলে বি জানাও সম্ভব, 1/c আর ক্যাপ ক্রস ই, এটা হচ্ছে ম্যাগনেটিক ফিল্ড। তাহলে আমি যদি ক্যালকুলেট করি, অফকোর্স পয়েন্টিং ভেক্টর উইল বি 1/μ0 c আর ক্যাপ ই আর স্কোয়ার, রাইট? তুমি যদি স্কোয়ার করো, you will get some formula. Try to do that, right? Because what is the problem? Beta can be anything. Of course, what I am saying that বিটাটা তো যে কোনো ভ্যালু হতে পারে। ইলেকট্রিক ফিল্ড, ম্যাগনেটিক ফিল্ডে যে এক্সপ্রেশনটা বার করেছি, এটাতে এমন নয় যে একটা বিটা ভ্যালুর জন্য ভ্যালিড হবে, একটা বিটার জন্য হবে না, তা বলতে চাইছি না আমি। আমাদের যেটা গোল ছিল যে রিলেটিভিস্টিক আর নন রিলেটিভিস্টিক দুটো কানেক্ট করা, যে আমরা একটা এমন জেনারেল ফর্মুলা বার করব যেখানে বিটা মাছ লেস দেন এই অ্যাপ্রক্সিমেশনটা বসালেই আমি লার্মান ফর্মুলাটা পেয়ে যাব। So Leonard formula is one such formula where if you apply this approximation, you will get the Larmor formula. Of course, তুমি যেটা বলছো যে ইলেকট্রিক ফিল্ডের এক্সপ্রেশনে তুমি যদি বিটা মাছ লেস দেন 1 না বসাও, of course beta can be anything, right? And whatever expression you will get, that should be equal to the Leonard formula, but that formula will be much more complicated. E আর B ক্রস প্রোডাক্ট করলে তুমি পয়েন্টিং ভেক্টর পাবেই, there is no doubt about that, but we want to have a compact formula in terms of beta and gamma which describes the power loss from a moving point charge. There is no doubt that if you take E and E cross B, in any case you will get the power. So we want to have one such formula which will give us back the Larmor formula under this approximation. দুটো আলাদা। বিটা মাছ লেস দেন 1 একবার বসানো হয়েছে কোথায়? ইলেকট্রিক ফিল্ড, ম্যাগনেটিক ফিল্ডে, সেখানে বসিয়ে লার্মার ফর্মুলাটা বার করা হয়েছে। আর আমি এখন যেটা বলছি, লিওনার্ড ফর্মুলাতে বিটা মাছ লেস দেন 1 বসিয়ে দিলে ওটা লার্মার ফর্মুলা পেয়ে যায়। গোলটা ক্লিয়ার কি করতে যাচ্ছি আমরা?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, বুঝতে পেরেছি। মানে স্যার আপনি বলছেন যদি ই ক্রস বিটা যদি আমি করি, তাহলে স্যার এখানে যে লিনিয়ার রেডিয়েশন ফর্মুলাটা বললেন, ওটা মানে ওই একই এক্সপ্রেশন নাও আসতে পারে, তাই তো?
It may not look similar, but it will be much more complicated. তুমি এই পুরো আলোচনাটা করছি, it is discussed in Jackson's book. জ্যাকসনের বইয়ে দেখো, পুরো আমি জ্যাকসনের ডেরিভেশনটাই ফলো করছি এখানে, এবং আর্গুমেন্টটা হচ্ছে এটাই যে আমি যদি একটা লোরেঞ্জ ইনভ্যারিয়েন্ট বার করতে পারি। রিলেটিভিস্টিক কেস মানে কি? আমরা যেখানে কিনা লোরেঞ্জ ট্রান্সফরমেশন অ্যাপ্লাই করতে পারবো। রিলেটিভিস্টিক কেস মানে আমি একটা ফ্রেম থেকে যদি আরেকটা ফ্রেমে যাই, তাহলে আমার একটা যদি ইনভ্যারিয়েন্ট ডিফাইন করতে পারি যে আমার ফ্রেমের উপর ডিপেন্ডই করে না, রাইট? তাহলে আমার কাজটা অনেক সিম্পল হয়ে গেল, যে আমি যে ডিপি মিউ ডিটাও লিখছি, এই যে যেটা লিখলাম পাওয়ারের ফর্মুলাটা, ইট ইজ লোরেঞ্জ ইনভ্যারিয়েন্ট। তাহলে সেই লোরেঞ্জ ইনভ্যারিয়েন্টটা যদি আমার মানে কোনো ফ্রেমের উপর ডিপেন্ড না করে এবং বিটা মাছ লেস দেন 1 এর লার্মান ফর্মুলা দেয়, দ্যাট উইল বি মাচ মোর অ্যাডভান্টেজিয়াস। দ্যাট ইজ দ্য রিজন। আমি বলছি না যে ই ক্রস বি করলে কোনো পাওয়ার রিডিউস, তুমি যদি জেনারেল ফর্মুলাতে ই আর ক্রস বি আর এটা লিখে দিয়ে তুমি 1/μ0 করে বার করতে চেষ্টা করো, দ্যাট উইল বি অলসো পাওয়ার রেডিয়েটেড বাই দ্য মুভিং পয়েন্ট চার্জ, but that formula may not exactly look like the Leonard radiation formula, but numerically if you calculate that, both of them should reduce to the same value. কি বললাম সেটা তোমার প্রশ্নটার সঙ্গে উত্তরটা কি, আমি যেটা বলছি সেটা কি ক্লিয়ার? আমি বললাম যে ইলেকট্রিক ফিল্ড, ম্যাগনেটিক ফিল্ড যদি কোনো, হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ
হ্যালো
স্যার ক্লিয়ার।
শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে। তার মানে লিনিয়ার ফর্মুলাটা আমরা একটা ফ্রেম ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট একটা ফর্মুলা বার করলাম, যেটা কিনা যে কোনো রিলেটিভিস্টিক পার্টিকেলের ক্ষেত্রে যে কোনো ফ্রেমে কাজে লাগবে। ঠিক আছে, ওকে।
স্যার।
তাহলে আমরা নেক্সট ক্লাসে আমরা রেডিয়েশন প্যাটার্ন গুলো নিয়ে আলোচনা করবো। আচ্ছা, আরেকটা কথা তোমাকে বলে দিই যে তোমাদের যে 1 জানুয়ারি ক্লাসটা আমরা পোস্টপন করে অন্য ডেটে শিফট করেছিলাম, সেটা তোমাদের মত অনুযায়ী 9th জানুয়ারি 1:30 থেকে 3:30 ঠিক করা হয়েছিল। আনফরচুনেটলি 9th জানুয়ারি আমাদের ডিপার্টমেন্টে একটা বোর্ড অফ স্টাডিজ মিটিং ডাকা হয়েছে, এবং সেটা সারাদিন ধরে চলে এবং সেটা থাকতেই হবে, ম্যান্ডেটরি, কোনো অপশনাল নয় যে যেখানে মিটিংটা স্কিপ করতে পারবো। যার ফলে ইউ হ্যাভ টু গিভ মি অ্যান অল্টারনেট ডেট। 9 জানুয়ারি হবে না, তোমরা নিজেরা ডিসাইড করে আমাকে শুক্রবারের ক্লাসে জানিয়ে দিও যে কোন দিনে হলে তোমাদের সুবিধা হবে। আমরা মানে আমাদের সময়ের টাইম কনস্ট্রেন্ট আছে, না হলে ঠিক আছে একটা ক্লাস মিস হলে কিছু যায় আসে না, কিন্তু এখন আমি মিস করতে চাইছি না, বিকজ আমাদের টাইমটা খুবই অল্প এবং সেই সময়ে আমরা কতটা কমপ্লিট করতে পারবো জানি না, বাট আই উইল ট্রাই মাই বেস্ট। তো চেষ্টা করা যাক অ্যাটলিস্ট রেডিয়েশন পার্টটা ম্যাক্সিমাম যতটা পারা যায় ডিসকাস করে নিতে। তো তোমরা আমাকে একটা ডেট তাহলে নেক্সট ফ্রাইডেতে তোমাদের নিজের মধ্যে আলোচনা করে আমাকে জানিও।